Smash the dinghy.
Welcome to Rage You Nerds. I am Mr. Cack, and I am joined on this lovely Tuesday by my friend Al. We are the Nerds, and we're here to just react and do stuff. Al, how are you?
I'm good. Just got off work, so it's been a long day, but I'm here.
Yeah, just a fair warning to anyone listening. If we happen to get shut off at some point tonight, it might very well be a tornado. So, yeah, just roll with it. We're rolling with it. Oops. Last week, The Mandalorian had Chapter 21, The Pirate, where we saw Darth Kale and other various pirates come in. And, okay, so before I ask you, no, I'll go ahead and ask. Al, what'd you think of this episode?
It was interesting. You got some action finally that we've kind of been missing in the last few episodes. They're gonna break ground on the new place, and eventually the Armorer decides that Bo-Katan needs to bring both factions together and they need to go back to Mandalore. So that right there is interesting to me to see what actually is going to happen, because I don't believe her. And personally, me, I don't trust the Armorer right now, just because she's been acting very weird since the get-go.
Are you trying to say that Armorer is sus AF? Hey, young people, welcome to Rage You Nerds. No, I agree. It is weird. So I was reading an article after the episode came out, not because I was looking for any criticism of the episode. I was just more curious about, like, hey, what are people thinking, like, about what's going on? And, like, this one article is like, this episode is basically retroactively, dismissed all of what the Mandalorian had to do to, like, for his honor. Like, he got shamed, kicked out. Paz almost killed him in defense of removing his helmet and to take the Darksaber. And now the Armorer is like, hey girl, you want to just take that helmet off? Just pop it off. Like, just do your life. Just do your life. And if I was Din, I'd be so pissed. I'd take that Darksaber out and I'd show some people. No, Revelation said good lingo. You're welcome, Revelation. You're welcome for my sus AF. So I am curious as to what, like, I get it, right? But also, couldn't the same thing have been said to our Mando? It's like, okay, you've technically walked both worlds. Go forth. Bo-Katan just doesn't seem like she's got the same people gathering ability that Din has, where he's shown a very high aptitude of gathering allies. He's the Monkey D. Luffy of this space drama. He just naturally gathers a pirate crew and then fights pirates, so he is Monkey D. Luffy, apparently. Now, Bo-Katan doesn't seem all that well at it. She had a crew, and yes, one of them happened to be a wrestler, and maybe that's why her crew got written off, but at the same time, her crew didn't stick around. So, I'll be interested to see what happens. Eventually, it has to come down to a conflict between Bo-Katan and the Mando again, right? Mandalorian and Bo-Katan have to have another conflict with each other. There has to be something where I think my biggest thing is, I think the reason she hasn't told Din about the mythosaur yet is that I think there's something within her mind that's like, okay, like, what if this vision, like, what if seeing this wasn't, like, all of this was because of him? What if this is the sign that he will be the one to lead Mandalore? And I don't want that. And I want to keep him from finding out that he could be part of the prophecy to be the one. So I think eventually that's going to come to a head. I think, especially when she starts gathering allies based on her, because, I mean, she's the one recruiting him to bring back Mandalore. Eventually, she's going to have not only a small army, but the support behind her to say, you know what? Not only am I taking that Darksaber, but the people of Mandalore want me to take that Darksaber.
She's going to need the Darksaber, so... Because that's who if they have the dark saber, that's who's in control. So
Well, yep. So I mean, she's gonna have to take it one way or the other, or the armor. Like again, I think there is something shady there. Now, at the end of this episode, we see that Moff Gideon, dun dun dun, has been disappeared. So clearly still alive for all we know. I mean, someone could have kidnapped him and killed him. Like, I mean, that's a very real thing. It'd be anticlimactic to all of this. But at the same time, the Moff Gideon story is starting to pick back up. I do appreciate that this episode, if nothing else, I appreciate this episode gave us progression in the Mandalorian Covenant story. I appreciate that we're actually moving forward with that, because they've been talking about how they need a place. We need a home. We need a home. We all aren't doing jack diddly shit to get you a home, so it's nice that finally someone decided to do it, and it wasn't necessarily Bo-Katan. Even though she's the one that can remove her helmet now, for whatever. I'm not upset. I'm not picky. But yeah, so I think that's interesting. The issue, the complaint that I would levy against this episode is one that I don't necessarily want to make. I don't really want to make this complaint because on one hand, I like that this was very much a Scooby-Doo type episode. Problem comes in, Mandalorian must solve, Mandalorian interacts, problem gets resolved, the episode is done. Like, there's no lingeringness to it, there's no to be continued of it all. Other than that one pirate escaping, but, you know, he'll come back at some point and get shot dead very quickly after that. But, like, it was nice that there's that. On the other hand, did a pirate crew in, like, the span of one afternoon come in, take over a planet, basically tear apart the town that the planet's, like, I guess, hub of life is, set themselves up, like, and everyone left, like, it just the whole place, all of these people just uprooted suddenly, didn't try to fight back in the moment, just like, hey, we can't do anything, let's go to the caves, everyone to the caves, let's go to the caves. So I mean, that just seems, you have to suspend your disbelief. I would have appreciated if they would have made it at least seem like days have passed, or like a month, or whatever, a space month has passed. of Coruscant's official calendar does follow very closely the Earth calendar. I do believe I remember correctly. So it could have just been one, a couple space months in there. So I mean, just without the context of like how long all of this is taking to transpire, like it just seems like pirates came in the morning, took over by lunch, and then before dinner time, the Mandalorians had come in, had saved the town planet, and everyone was just like, we accept you, like, come in, our metal-clad angels of death, like, we can't, honestly, this town can't stop the Mandalorians from taking their plot of land. They should be trying to figure out a way to appease their new metal overlords, so that way they don't come back and just annihilate the crap out of the rest of them, because them people, some pansies, they got a couple blasts fired on them, like, we gotta leave. That crap wouldn't have happened on Tatooine, Those people are hardened. Those people have seen some crap.
You talked about Moff Gideon, and they at the end, they said that it was Beskar. So either there's another faction of Mandalorians out there that have stolen Moff Gideon, or somebody is planting Beskar out to frame the Mandalorians. So it'll be interesting where that goes too.
Yeah, would it be too surprising if Moff Gideon was the one that, mastermind the whole planning of it, because he clearly has an axe to grind against some Mandalorians, specifically a Mandalorian. Some may say the Mandalorian. But we'll see. Hey, maybe it's Boba Fett. Maybe Boba Fett's getting back involved, and he decided that he's done being a little bit out of shape. I'm gonna go into space and shoot people, and he just went and did it. he woke up from his bath, his most latest old man bath, and just went out there and like, gonna steal Moff Gideon. I hope if it is a faction of Mandalorians, it's for some good old fashioned. This is how Mandalorians issue their justice, because he's not going to have a lot of fans, right? It's very well known that he had the Darksaber and he just went down and obtained it after the place got glassed, I assume. So, like, hey, I hope he has some people that are very upset with him. Now, if he ends up having a faction that supports him, I'm not going to be a fan of that. Now, I'm not saying I'm against a rogue faction of Mandalorians that are evil a-holes. Like, that's totally fine. I just don't want them to be working for Moff Gideon. I wouldn't be a big fan of that.
Yeah.
I hate this pirate. I hate Captain Greenbeard. I hate
you don't
him
like
so much.
Swamp Thing?
I do not like Salad the Hutt. I saw some people call him Salad the Hutt in reference to Pizza the Hutt from Spaceballs. No, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of oh gosh, what's the Swamp Thing equivalent of the Marvel universe? Man Thing. I'm not I don't like B horror movie Man Thing. Like
I did like the new Rebel character they put in. I can't think of what his name is though.
Oh, I forget what you're talking about, but a character from Star Wars Rebel, his first live action debut. I liked his voice.
Yeah.
But Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have been going out of their way to work their cartoon universe into live-action universe. And I don't care what anyone says. I'm a fan, so keep doing your stuff. Mainly because
it's great.
Mainly because Dave Filoni was responsible for some of the best General Grievous work out there. And I hate that character was basically an afterthought in the primary live-action prequel trilogy. The dude waved like 6 lightsabers around and was killing Jedi, and we see him for 5 minutes get his ass owned. I hate it.
Yeah, I wish there was more of him for sure.
Yep, only in the animated universe though. It's the only where you get those. On to something that's a little bit less green, but still just as mean. The ARK on Sci-Fi or Peacock had episode 9 last week. And boy, did some stuff happen. We had a mutiny, a coup, and sex drama. Like there's 2 levels of it. Like there's so much. Old dude throwing his meat at places he shouldn't. Young characters maybe thinking their meat's gonna go places it shouldn't. And our 2 beautiful people still banging and hating, still hating and banging. So I appreciate Bryce and Ava still just getting it on. Good for them. So Al, what'd you think of episode 9 of the ARK?
You know, for me, I have fallen in love with this show. I don't know why, but for me, it's been a great indie show to watch. There's not any really big name actor or actresses in this, and I will say Sci-Fi may have done something that's actually legitimately to watch on Sci-Fi. Will it get a second season? I doubt it, because that's just the Sci-Fi way of doing things. But I have fallen in love with it, and it's been great. This episode was good. We got to see, the quarrels between the 2 different factions that are on the ship right now. And then we got to see, we got a nail biter at the end. We got a cliffhanger at the end to see what's going to be in the next episode. So they're doing everything right so far. I hope they can finish it off well enough.
Yeah, I think it's super fascinating that our mysterious sole survivor of Ship 3 may not be who she seems she is. Honestly, I don't think we talked about it at the time. But as the episode progressed and we got to the end, there was one of those things where I was kind of thinking, you know what is odd, and what no one, what probably they should have noticed, but I understand why they didn't. A lot is going on in the whole moment of venturing on ARC 3, and then, their systems going to crap and trust appearing. Like there's been a lot that they couldn't just sit there and put their thinking caps on. But isn't it odd that the only person that was wearing any kind of, and it was more like a hazmat suit than it was like a spacesuit, was, I forget what her name is, the girl from ARK 3. She was the only one suited up. Everyone else, no helmets, no suit on. Like, I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things is dressed up. Like, why aren't we asking questions about that? And then it leads to another thing of, okay, so what was the relation to her and the guy that she sat there and watched die in surgery? Was he also, like, was he legitimately connected to what? Was he legitimately connected to her in the way that she kind of, like, was he a friend? Or more so, is he more like our little plantain dude? Our little green thumb guy on the spaceship? Was she going through and collecting the most of use people from ARK 3, and that guy may have happened to be one? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's fair.
Because it seemed like she about to do some stuff, and only one person seems safe in the eyes of the Lord, and that's the little nerdy boy that is a virgin, doesn't know what to do. His little chastity self is about to get a cherry popped and maybe grow some cherries on a strange new planet.
Is the episode next the last one?
I think it is.
Okay.
Let's see. The ARK season 1.
They got to ARK 15, right? And so ARK 15 was about to shoot on them.
It just appeared.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was preparing to shoot. They had turned on the shield that Trust said they were going to have,
Correct.
and all of a sudden it pooped out because turns out Trust was wrong. 12 episodes. We got a little bit more breathing room.
Okay.
There's plenty of shenanigans. The Trust side of things. The no-name characters that joined Trust side, who cares? I didn't realize that the security female officer, I didn't know the woman security officer that's been working under, I don't know any of these people's names. Other than Bryce and Ava and Garnett and Lane. So I know some of their names. A whole lot of other ones I don't know. They're just people. They just show up. But security woman and security man bald. I didn't realize that she was going to be, I guess, a prominent-ish character because she really hadn't had any speaking roles for the longest time, but she was part of the Mutineers. But I like the series. I really do like the series. I really am interested in the series. I don't know if that's indicative of anything other than sometimes I just like what I like, and I just get caught up in it. But I'm excited. I'm glad that you brought this into my life. I'm very interested to see where this goes. Clearly, I think we know who we can blame for ARK 15 being a bunch of a-holes and jagoffs, and that's the lady that bought out the corporation. Again, I still think it's super suspicious that red-haired girl from ARK 3 hasn't, until very recently, until just at the end of this episode, hadn't ever been around Trust. And it's not like Trust was hiding. Trust and his wife were there. And I think the reason for that being is there's going to be a recognition of who she is, and the Trust are going to know her. And I'm not saying that she's the young girl or the woman that purchased or that bought Trust out, but maybe a relation. Maybe something there. I think there is something there. I also would not be surprised if she happens to be the woman that bought out Trust Company. I don't think that would really shock me at all.
Or the security guy's daughter.
I'm hoping for timey-wimey bullcrap. I'm not going to lie at all, Al. I am hoping, again.
Especially with them jumping through, jumping through time. Like they've said. So I could see it being a thing.
My proclamations last week were, I want aliens and I want timey-wimey bullshit. Just go ahead and give it to me. Inject it into my veins.
I see timey-wimey more than aliens right now.
Oh, come on. Give me the aliens.
I just don't see aliens right now. But timey-wimey I could see for sure.
All right. Well, timey-wimey's probably going to attract the aliens because that's what timey-wimey stuff does. Attracts aliens. I'm still holding out for hope. I think the fact that the ammunition that it has to. So if it's not aliens, then it's the fact that timey-wimey has to be involved. Because if not aliens, then the only way ARK 15 could have this alien-like weapon is that they've went to a planet They've been there long enough to get the resources up to say, hey, this is a material we don't have on Earth. Let's weaponize it.
Yeah.
And that, I think, gives credence to ARK 3 girl may very well be the daughter of security guy. And I think, I'm cool with that. I'm not upset with that. What I am upset with is that he picked up a samurai sword not too long ago, and he ain't done dick all with
he ain't
that.
used it yet.
So I better see some space people get space sliced and diced by a bald security man that is as white as a ghost. I want to see him slice and dice. I want to see him have an anime space moment, because only in anime would a samurai sword appear in the future in space. Though it is a much more reasonable weapon to use when in a spaceship, because it's not going to puncture the hull and kill you all.
Fair.
Like a gun might. And we got one of those left, and we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, some questions get answered, some things get wrapped up. We see that Trust Wife is like the evil mastermind behind his, I guess, turns. He's basically a soy boy beta cuck. That's what the kids call him nowadays. But he's basically just a complicit guy that, fools around on his wife. He wants to be an alpha, but he is with a very domineering alpha wife. And she's pulling the reins. And for whatever reason, she wants to stay with his little pasty, pale, wrinkly body. Good for her. I thought it was weird that she sat in the captain's chair and she's like, oh yeah, this is nice. Like, okay, like, are you gonna be the captain? Like, are people gonna believe that you're the captain? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But people are gonna die. We're gonna see a lot of deaths coming up is what I project. And it may have already happened. It may already be happening. A new episode comes out tomorrow, and then you and I will have access to watch it on Peacock Thursday. Goodbye, the ARK. I still want aliens, but I feel like timey-wimey for sure is going to be the first thing we get. South Park had its season finale, and we went spring breaking now. We went down to South Carolina. Well, I guess we went up and to the left of South Carolina. So when I heard this was a spring break episode and that it was Mr. Garrison, I can't remember if I mentioned this to you on stream last week or not, but I believe the idea was, okay, he's probably going to Florida and he's going to, slip back into his Trump persona because he is the South Park's universe's Donald Trump equivalent. And I thought he was going to get into a fight with Ron DeSantis. It turns out I wasn't completely wrong.
Yeah.
I just wasn't right. But we did have Mr. Garrison wrestling with his should I be the president again, or should I be in my loving relationship with a man I love? And the temptations of raging. With rallying, that's what it was. It was rallying. And then the B storyline was, if you play 40K Warhammer and mess with the figurines, you're not man enough for Randy Marsh, and you should be doing drugs and hookers and swinging from the chandeliers and get the cops called on you. No, I have to stay here so I can watch my son teach him that this generation's been stripped of their masculinity.
Oh my gosh.
What'd you think of this episode, Al?
It was very, very comical. I was at the gym watching it on my phone while doing my hour-long cardio, and I'm sure the people walking by were like, what the is he watching? Thankfully it was in the morning, so there wasn't a lot of people there because I'd just gotten off work. But man, it was hilarious watching them put flashbacks into January 6th on there. Jesus Christ.
Right quick, Sensational Gaming says, Heyo, Sensational Gaming. Yeah, like, I don't know if you've seen the episodes because you were getting caught back up. I don't know if you've seen the episodes yet where we get the Donald Trump equivalent of Mr. Garrison. But this was a fun little bring back in. It wasn't necessarily a very biting episode. It seemed like South Park ended on kind of a fun note, but not necessarily a heavy-handed note. Well, not that they're overly heavy-handed in anything. They just kind of crap on everything. Sensational Gamings, remember me? Oh no. Oh no, Sensational Gamings. What did you do? What did you do, Sensational Gamings, last time you were here? Well, I don't remember you, but I am very happy that you found your way back into our hearts and souls. And I'm the anime voice acting dude. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so Al, you would have been the more appropriate party to have with this. Sensational Gaming shared with us TikToks of them doing voiceovers for anime moments. I think one was a Gogeta moment from Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And then he nails the yelling. He nails the yelling quite well. And now he says, I've upped my game since then. Well, if you have any more work you want to share with the class, you're more than welcome to, Sensational Gamings. But for this South Park, I will say there was one moment where I was like, okay, like, where's this going? And it was when he was in the bathroom. and
oh, I thought that was going somewhere else.
And the guy was soliciting him for rallying. And then is it Richard? What's his partner's name? I can't remember. Rick. Is it Rick? Rick.
We love Rick.
We love Rick. Is that it? Am I making that up? I'm gonna feel really dumb.
No, I think his name's Rick.
South Park Spring Break cast. Let's see. Man. Was it Rick? Oh, that's who voices Tolkien's mom? Interesting. Mr. Garrison. Brick. Yes, Rick. Okay. Right. We were right. We weren't wrong. It's Gon's Rage from Hunter x Hunter. Is it the scene? Is it the scene where Gon has a couple ragey moments. Gon goes through some shit in the Chimera Ant arc. So is this before? I guess is this before? It's probably got to be after the death. I don't know. I'd be interested to see it. I do like me some Hunter x Hunter. I do feel very sad that I'm probably never going to see that series concluded. I think there is hope that we'll see it. It's a scene where he yells at P2 in the building when P2 is healing the girl. Ooh, that's that quiet storm rage. That's him sitting there with his eyes deadlocked on that feline gender fluid character. That's been a lot of debate from the manga. Hunter x Hunter's creator makes some very gender question marked characters in design of like, is it not? Does it matter? Would. It's just like, you just kind of go with it. But yes, so Spring Break, I love Rick. Capital 6 riots. We had so much going on for just that moment. What did you think of the Randy Marsh side story to all of this plot?
It was interesting. You know, they hit Randy quite a bit this season. I guess maybe he, like you had said, he became a big part of one of the main characters of the last few seasons, and yes, they stuck with it for a little bit. It seems like maybe he's learned his lesson, but I doubt it. Just because the way he is from just watching this season, he never learned his lesson.
Yeah. So I think at first I was with you. I was like, okay, he's showing some growth here. He's having a moment. He's reaching out to his wife. He understands that what he did was wrong. And then she makes the comment, well, you let me stay out longer this time than last time, so I appreciate it. I'm like, oh, no, he hasn't learned his lesson. He forgets his lesson.
Yeah.
and then goes back to this, and then his wife, who must be a saint, is just like, all right, Randy, I will keep embracing you. And I'm not a smart person, and I don't have a full context of what they're trying to split here, but I assume that kind of, let's call it weird codependency, has to have something to do with maybe what us as a society mirroring kind of how everyone got caught up in the fever that is a certain president that happened to be Mr. Garrison, and all that brought there, because we kind of went crazy there. We kind of went crazy to prove ourselves that we were still the masculine males of the previous generation, and not a bunch of Warhammer nerds. And then we woke up one morning and realized that we need to call our wife and that we need to beg them to come back home and take care of us, because we have no idea what we're doing. There has to be a greater meaning there. There has to be a bigger tie in there. My brain just wasn't operating on a level that I guess fully appreciated or understood the nuance of what the episode may have been trying to say there.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed the crap out of Mr. Garrison raging. Raging at
funny.
the rallying. And like everyone's like, hey, it's the guy. hey, do the thing. And he just immediately slips into the the Trump like one-liners. These GD libs. My voice. My wife says that I have a certain voice that I put on that isn't my normal talking voice when I do, like, back when the pandemic was up and I used to have to do a lot of Zoom and Microsoft Teams calls for all of my advising appointments, and I was talking to 100 people in a given week or 2 weeks. She's like, you sound different when you're talking into a microphone than when you talk normally. I'm like, yeah, I'm professional as F. And now I'm young again. But thank you. You're very welcome, Sensational Gaming. Thank you so much for popping back up. I would like to promise you that I will always remember you. At the same time, if you appear back again and you question if I remember you, and I look at you like a confused old man, just say, Anime Dubs Guy. And I'll be like, all right, what do you got next? What do you got next? I don't have anything else to say about South Park. I hate that it's 6 episodes now. I hate that they've gotten in such a place where they both have earned and deserve to not have to churn out, 20 episodes anymore. But this is kind of crap, right? 6 episodes? What do they think they are? A BBC? Like, what are they? Wait, British Broad. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, BBC.
Sometimes I throw out those 3 letters and I'm like, am I saying blank carbon copy? Am I saying British Broadcasting Company? Am I saying something else? I don't know what the appropriate combination of these letters are anymore. But yeah, any final thoughts? This is your first time, I guess, watching a South Park season in the moment, in either ever or a long time. What are you thinking? What'd you think about it?
I watched South Park a long time ago for a little bit, and then it just kind of fell by the way, just because I was more of a Simpsons guy, I guess, growing up. But it was very hilarious. The season was very funny. They hit points on the head for what's happening in current day. And it's quite good still. But even though it's 6 episodes, it brings what it needs to bring to the table, and they don't have to try to overdo it.
Yeah. So I've been watching. My YouTube is such a weird. My YouTube algorithm doesn't know what the hell I'm doing. It's a mixture of stuff that my children have been watching, so it's just mind-numbing insanity. And then the rest is like interview with Matt Stone and Trey Parker from South Park. And I've been watching a lot of their interviews and a lot of the conversations about them. Joe Rogan apparently every 5 weeks talks about his love and appreciation for the South Park guys. But just like hearing you know what? It is one of the interesting things of they are one of the few we can just kind of take the piss out of anyone and no one said they're like the most uncancelable
Yeah.
individuals in existence because they've legitimately tried to have themselves canceled and it just didn't work. So kudos to them. They need to, I know they're really tired of doing this, and Broadway and like musicals are actually more of what their original passion was, but they were getting nowhere with it. And that's why they made Book of Mormon. But like their first movie was intended to be a musical. They wanted basketball to be a musical. Like they wanted everything to be a musical. It's why Bigger, Longer, and Uncut had a lot of musical scores in it, is because they were very big into musical theater. One of the very first acting things they did was their production of Cannibal. Weird movie, but it's out there. Find it on YouTube.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know the Book of Mormon was by them.
It was, yes.
Dude,
them and I forget if it was the creator, director, or maybe writer for Avenue Q. They went to Broadway, they saw Avenue Q, they fell in love with it, they started talking to someone that was working on it, and like, hey, we should make a Broadway play together. And he's like, okay, let's do it. And they did it. And they had Josh Gad as one of their Broadway actors in like the main role. So yeah, no, that's their passion. They've made a South Park episode where they basically called out the Broadway culture and stuff like that. So I mean, like, they're big musical theater nerds. They just were never really given a chance because they look like big pothead nerds. Like they in person, especially back in the 90s, look like people that probably were stoned off their ass. And chances are, Al, they were probably stoned off their ass. Sensational Gaming says, what's funny is I did Death from Puss in Boots because at that point I forgot what to do dubbing wise. Have you ever seen Puss in Boots, The Last Wish?
The new one?
Yeah.
No, I haven't watched it yet.
It's on Peacock now?
I think Peacock.
I think it's on Peacock now. I watched it with my kids on something, so it's something I have access to.
Okay.
It's actually pretty good. I liked it.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it was a really good. You know, we crap on a lot of animation, like, you know, Pixar is kind of like, what are they doing? Disney's animation's like, what are you doing? The studio universe that brought you Shrek. I forget which studio that is.
Dreamcast. No, not Dreamcast. Dreamscape.
DreamWorks?
DreamWorks, that's what it is.
Because I was going to say, I had a Dreamscape. Like, was that the video game console?
DreamWorks. There you go.
Was that the video
There's
game
too many
console?
dreams.
Sega Dreamcast. I had one of those back in 99, 2000, because I played Sonic Adventure, which was an awesome game. Awesome game. But also I had NFL 2K.
Oh yeah.
My little rumble pack and memory card things. Like, I'm so sad that thing didn't make it all that long. Played Crazy Taxi on it. I loved the Sega Dreamcast. I loved it.
Yeah, DreamWorks. But there you go.
It was not long for the world. DreamWorks, yes. When you started saying Dream, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Where is he going? What am I doing?
It's the kid fishing.
Yes. The throwing it out while he's like resting on a cloud or something. Yeah. But yes, it's basically Shrek universe now. But Puss in Boots was good. It was Last Wish was really good. Sensational Gaming says, I feel like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse changed animation for the better because The Last Wish had a similar animation style. The Last Wish, because they adopted that anime style or that animation style, had really good fight sequences. Like, there's not a lot of fight sequences in it, but the fight sequences that do popped up, I thought looked really cool based on the animation that they used. And it was all very anime. It felt very anime inspired, the fight sequences too. So again, because I like anime, I kind of dug all of this. And I was glad my children wanted to watch it. My daughter is big into Puss in Boots because there's a little series of his on Netflix, and she's like, because I was going to take her to the movie to see the movie at first, and then she wasn't feeling well, so I couldn't do it back then. I'm like, well, let's find it on Netflix, because I think there's probably some movies on Netflix, and unfortunately, it was just a TV show, and I was like, man. The scene with Puss and the Giant reminded me of Attack on Titan. Yes, it is very. It has a lot of, if not intentional references, a lot of unintentional references to Attack on Titan. But Al and Sensational Gamings and Revelation 666, I don't know where you went, but I still love you. let's call it a night. Let's go to bed.
Sounds good.
All right, Sensational Gaming, thank you so much for stopping by. You are always welcome to stop back by, and you are always welcome to share your TikToks with us, because I want to see what you're doing with your voice. Al, you are always welcome to show up at your appointed streaming time, because I like your voice too, and I want to see what you got to do. And me, yeah, I'll keep doing this. This has been Rage You Nerds. We will see you, well, I'll see you Friday if you show up Friday. Al, we'll see you Monday, Tuesday?
Should be Monday.
Next Monday, Al, we'll see you. All right, goodbye.